Hello everybody and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's review we're going to continue to take a look at some of the latest B&M exclusive Doctor Who action figure collector sets. In today's review, one of the latest releases from the History of the Daleks series, featuring some 70s Daleks from the 3rd Doctor 1974 serial, Death to the Daleks. So let's take a look at the packaging for the History of the Daleks set 10. Now this is basically a continuation of the design that we know already, however with quite a notable change, which I will be coming on to a little bit later on. At the very bottom we have the title of the set as well as the limited edition sticker. Towards the side of this we have a little red box out which states that these Daleks are from Death to the Daleks from 1974. At the top we have the stacked variation of the Doctor Who logo as well as a little bit of Gallifreyan text. The usual TARDIS graphic is present at the side. The TARDIS design as per usual also extends around to the side. At the top of the box, repetition of exactly the same details, and at the very bottom we have some company information hidden away. Turning around to the back of the box now, we have the continuation of the usual style guide with the same elements repeated, as well as a lovely synopsis for Death to the Daleks, as well as a little bit of behind the scenes about the props themselves. As always, really like this. It definitely hones in on the collectors who will hopefully be purchasing this set. As a little bit of a disclaimer warning, I am about to go on to a rant about packaging, so if packaging is not your thing and you really do not care, hop to this time code at the very top to cut to taking a look at the actual figures. Right then, elephant in the room time. I'm using this footage for both of the reviews for these products because we have this new inclusion of a plastic kind of clamshell around the Daleks themselves. I can't think of a polite way to say this, I absolutely hate it. I really do. I think it looks really ugly and it is definitely a downgrade from the previous releases. Not only does it make the actual cardboard of the box around the sides here feel incredibly flimsy and cheap, I also think it doesn't really make the Daleks actually look good. If anything, it distorts the view of the actual product itself and it makes it hard to actually see those various problems such as paint leaks. Can't lie, it really puts me in the mindset of those really cheap mass-produced kind of Poundland toys that you used to get in the early 2000s. It's also quite a major bummer for those of you who like to take your Daleks out of the box and then put them back in again as if they've never been opened for display, because once these Daleks are out it will be pretty difficult to make the box look the same, because it's like how the figures used to be in like 2006 and 2007. You could argue, well, just buy two, one to have open and one to have not open, but thankfully it saves me the double dip because I really don't like the way that this looks, so frankly I don't think I would actually want to display this in its packaging on the shelf anyway. Although of course it is only fair of me to mention the main reason why this has been done, and it is to make the packaging 100% recyclable, which is incredibly commendable and good for the environment. It's just a shame because personally for me as a collector, I now no longer really want to display these figures inside the box. So this has also meant that the backdrops are now no more, which personally as a collector who's collected the classic series since its origins in 2008, the backgrounds are in fact something that I really look forward to when collecting these Daleks, because I have the original versions. These are just amendments from them, so the backgrounds are something that I really look forward to getting. It makes the figure look unique and exciting in its box, but yes, that is now sadly gone as well. So for me personally as a collector, in my opinion, there's not really too much going for these products anymore, actually keeping them in the packaging. And yes, I can completely appreciate some of you probably think that I'm just being a miserable git, and yes, I probably am. It's just cardboard at the end of the day. It's not the end of the world, it's a shame, and it's something that I've liked, and yeah, so I can understand if you do like this design, and I can understand if you really don't care. Either way, it's opinion. So here we have the two Death to the Daleks out of the box. So both of these Daleks have indeed been released before in some capacity, but naturally this collector set does feature a number of paint application changes which make them different to the originals. Machine Gun Dalek was initially released alongside John Pertwee's 3rd Doctor in a Forbidden Planet exclusive collector set, I do believe probably around 2009, 2010, either way, quite a long time ago. And the second Dalek of the set, the one with the regular Dalek gun, was initially released as a part of the Sound Effects Daleks range Wave 1, again quite a number of years ago, and if I remember right, I do believe this was a wave of Daleks that were available in quite a number of retailers and not just Forbidden Planet. Can't lie, I'm going to be really blunt and say that I'm really disappointed with this set. I really am, and it's something that I never normally say, certainly within the 5.5 Collector Series reviews. Normally there are always good points and bad points, and with this set when I got it, I instantly just felt really underwhelmed. I think that is partly down to the fact that I've been really looking forward to this set for quite a number of years. Of course, we had quite a long period of time where we were constantly getting 60s silver and blue Daleks, so it was naturally very exciting when the series finally started to move into the 70s. And the fact that these Daleks only actually appear once on screen, to me, annoys me even more, because they had one opportunity to get this set right, and sadly, they haven't. Silver and black Dalek design is also a really striking design, which makes me all the more frustrated as to why this set has turned out how it has. So I will try my best throughout this review to seek some of the positives, but I will also be going through why I'm rather disappointed with this product. Starting off on a positive, both of the Daleks within this set are very, very similar, making it absolutely perfect for army building. And because of this, throughout the review, I will be hopping between both of the Daleks, basically highlighting the differences, but taking a look at both of them simultaneously. Starting off at the very bottom of the Dalek, we have the inclusion of the fender. Now, on both of the Daleks, we have this two-stack formation, so the very bottom, we have a piece sculpted in a black plastic, and then above this, we have a silver finish, much like the rest of the main Dalek body. Something of which that I have mentioned in the previous History of the Daleks set reviews is that as this series is going on, I feel like those smaller details are getting less and less. So within the first collector set of this series, there was a lovely wash applied to the fender to kind of replicate that worn look that the Dalek props had when being knocked around the BBC studio. These Daleks have absolutely zero weathering on whatsoever. I really do find this a shame, because overall it gives the Dalek character, and in particular on this colour scheme, I think a lovely dirtied wash would have really made the Dalek stand out, especially given kind of the sandy location within the story itself. So moving further up the Dalek now to take a look at the Dalek bumps. These have been painted actually considerably well. So once again we have that lovely vibrant silver base which really stands out. It's rather similar to that shiny paint that was used on the 60s releases. So this Dalek does look a lot shinier compared to the initial Forbidden Planet exclusive release that came alongside the third Doctor. But then we also have the hemispheres themselves, which have been given this lovely shiny black finish. As always with this series, I definitely recommend popping into store to actually handpick these Dalek sets if you get the opportunity to do so, because due to the rather stark difference between the base colour and the hemisphere colour, any paint leaks will stand out quite a lot. So for example, you have this hemisphere here at the back, which as you can see, it does leak over ever so slightly, and there is a number of occasions that this does occur throughout the Dalek itself. The second Dalek in the set, again we have this hemisphere here that does have a little bit of paint leaking on it. Overall, it looks okay. I don't think the paint leaks stand out as much as other Daleks, but yes, I definitely recommend taking a look in store to avoid any rather nasty paint leaks. Flipping the Dalek upside down, as per usual, we have the inclusion of the two wheels there at the very back, as well as the rotating caster. This does of course allow your Dalek to move around rather freely, which is great for the younger Doctor Who fans who like to play with their Daleks. So progressing further up the Dalek now to take a look at the midsection, and sadly this is where another of the criticisms takes place. I'm sure if you've been looking at these Daleks you're already aware of this, but basically at the front here within the sort of weaponry section we have this black paint application. A rather lovely matte black has been used. However, as we turn the Dalek onto the side, we can quite obviously tell that the black paint application doesn't continue onto this midsection behind the slats where it is indeed meant to, so it gives this overall rather unusual appearance of the Dalek almost sporting a black bib. So naturally this does of course mean if you have the original Death to the Daleks, I definitely recommend keeping them and not selling them by any means, because those Daleks originally are far superior to these ones. Overall the build quality feels a lot better, the paint application is a lot better. Probably the only thing that these Daleks do better is that lovely silvery shine. Of course, to some people, the fact that this section here of black is missing won't be too big of a deal, because you might be a customizer and you might paint figures regularly. Personally, for me, I'm not a customizer, I don't paint any figures, and when I purchase a product, I like the idea of it being as perfect as possible, especially with the History of the Daleks series, which I think set out at the very beginning really promisingly to try and deliver the most accurate Dalek props possible that they can within the sculpt. On a more positive note now, I think the slats have been really nicely painted, incredibly neat, so as per usual, and in accordance to the usual sculpt, we have the inclusion of 2 rivets on each slat, and these have been given this lovely silver shiny highlight, and in between this we have the black sculpted plastic, which does of course represent the mesh in between each slat, which has this lovely textured finish. Even though both of the Daleks within this collector set do look rather similar, what is nice to see is we do have some variety to reflect the different props that were used by the BBC back in the 1970s. So firstly, in the middle of the weaponry section for the machine gun Dalek, we do have the inclusion of this little cylindrical shape here in between the sockets. And then swapping the machine gun Dalek out for the regular Dalek featured within this set, again we have exactly the same black in the background, but this time in between the socket sections we don't have any circular shape, it's just left blank. Don't know if I'm going crazy, it might be possible, but it does appear that the Dalek with the gun stick has an ever so slightly glossier black manipulator arm, and the machine gun Dalek has a more matte black finish. Don't know why they've done this, again, I suppose it's nice for variety. Taking a look at the normal gun stick Dalek, the ball joint itself has been given a light grey finish on both the manipulator arm and the gun, and then the gun itself is just your same usual Dalek gun. We have little beams of the nozzle piece there at the very end. This has just been painted a block silver. Something that will be very exciting for the newer collectors to the classic series action figure line is the addition of the machine gun, because this has only ever been released once all those years ago, and it was a Forbidden Planet exclusive, and that original set is now considerably expensive, so this makes for a good opportunity to finally get this sculpt and add it to your collection. It's a very unusual design, it's kind of like an egg whisk, and again it's painted in a lovely shiny silver, much like the regular gun stick, so you have this rather lovely texturing towards the bottom, and it kind of comes out into a rather unusual rocket shape at the very end. Sadly, after that compliment about the machine gun, I'm now going to follow that up with a little bit of a complaint. I really don't like to complain in reviews, and I really hope that the complaints that I do have and the criticisms that I have in product reviews, I hope that you as a viewer feel that they are justified and that I'm not going too over the top, I'm not being too nitpicking. But for me, this is probably the biggest problem with this set that I was really disappointed with when I opened it. And that is the fact that the Dalek appendages are simply just so weak. I mean, look at this. I'm not even moving the ball joint. It's just made of an incredibly flexible plastic. So if you do want to pause this, I definitely recommend grabbing it from the base and moving the ball joint physically. Same for the manipulator arm. This isn't as sturdy as it usually is. It's definitely not. It's probably the best appendage on these Daleks overall, because the eye stalk is even worse. So here we have the eye stalk. I've not been able to move this. If I try and move it, I am very, very concerned that it is going to snap. It's made of an incredibly flexible plastic, and it is no way as sturdy as the vast majority of the other Daleks within my collection, so yeah, I'm basically not going to move the eye stalks on either of these Daleks. Again, if this was a 60s Dalek collector set or something like that, I will probably feel like this will be less of a big deal, but because these Daleks have only aired on TV once, it was the one shot to get these Daleks right, and sadly both of the Daleks within this set have the same problem, and it is just a shame because it makes the Dalek overall feel very cheap and like it's not gone through quality control. Something that I'm really pleased to see is the really flexible appendages of this set is something that seems to be remaining exclusive to this set, as this set that was released alongside it is perfect. All of the appendages are the same plastic to usual, so I don't get that fear of bending the eye stalk and the manipulator arm as much as I do with this set. I have seen a number of people online buy multiple of this set to basically create their own preferred version of the Death Daleks, being like the hero props as well as the stunt props, including ball joints that have been painted black and the gun as well being painted black, unlike how it is on this figure, which I do believe is inaccurate. And I think that generally those colour schemes do look a lot better compared to what we've actually got. Moving further up now to the top of the Dalek, we have the main kind of barrel section. This is nice, it's the same to usual, so we have that matte black base and a lovely texturing of the mesh in kind of the central section. All of the beams in the middle do seem to line up as well, which is really nice on this Dalek, because I feel like if they didn't, it would really stand out. The same can be said for the other Dalek within this collector's set. Some really lovely detailing, very sharp paint application, and the same goes for the dome as well, sporting that lovely shiny paint. Moving back over now now to the machine gun Dalek for the dome lights. As per usual, these are the slightly later sculpt that were introduced into the classic series. So we have the Mini Cooper dome design along with the ridges going up to the top. This Dalek has a rather lovely transparent orangey finish, which really makes them stand out on that shiny silver dome. And as for the regular Dalek within the set, again exactly the same design sculpting wise, but this time round these are a clear plastic. I think it's things like these different dome lights and the missing shape in the centre of the Dalek which really make these Daleks stand out, and it's nice to have that variety and representation of the various Dalek props that have appeared within the show. Finally, for the design of this Dalek, we have the eye stalk. We briefly touched upon this earlier due to the rather flexible eye stalks that are featured within this set. However, visually it certainly looks the part, which is good. So we have this base silver to keep with the rest of the dome, and we have the inclusion of the light blue discs. This is the individual space design, which looks rather nice. And then to complete the look, at the end of the eye stalk we have the usual eye socket section. This has been given a glossy black finish, complete with that little pupil in the middle of the eye, which really stands out. As for the rest of the articulation and all of that, as I was mentioning earlier, we have all of these incredibly flexible appendages, which, to be quite honest, I wouldn't give this to a child. I think that if a child had this, the eye stalk would certainly break within the first few hours of play. It feels incredibly weak and incredibly flexible, even to the extent that I don't want to pose it, and I'm very careful with my figures usually. So yeah, it's one of those products that if you are giving it to a younger Doctor Who fan, I might be wrong, but I'd advise being careful with it. So in summary, for the Death to the Daleks, I think they are certainly a mixed bag, and if you're someone who doesn't particularly care about the overall quality of the figure and simply just wanted to look nice on the shelf, then yes, by all means, I think this set will certainly do a good job. And these are some very striking designs of Dalek that of course exclusively only appear pretty much within one story. Sadly, I think the whole point of accuracy and quality basically haunts the entirety of this current B&M exclusive range. Of course, this set did also come out alongside the likes of the 10th Doctor Collector set, which I have already reviewed, and I wasn't particularly too complimentary of that set either. But now that we have the details of the next wave coming later this year, it is great to see that the History of the Dalek sets seem to be returning to more accuracy, better paint application, and more creative choices. In my personal opinion, this set is almost the definition of a lost opportunity, with the paint application being tightened up, a little bit better plastic used for the Dalek appendages, and the application of a wash around the base of the fender would have made this set superb and a great addition to the shelf. However, as a collector who has the original releases, I can't help but feel rather underwhelmed and disappointed. But that is of course my own personal opinion. If you love this set, then brilliant. I'm glad that you've been able to add these Daleks to your shelf, but for me personally I was just expecting something a little bit better quality, and certainly if you have the original releases, then I definitely recommend keeping them within your collection, because to me they are far superior. So there we have it, that is my review of History of the Daleks Set 10, featuring Daleks from the 3rd Doctor story, Death to the Daleks. I really hope you have enjoyed it, and apologies if it's been a little bit less positive to usual. I'm just not really a fan of this set. I really wish it was better, however sadly for me it is probably one of the weakest in the series so far, but luckily the series is going to be improving in the future. So yes, as I've said, I really hope you have enjoyed the review, and do of course stay tuned on The Host Productions for regular Doctor Who content. Have a nice day, and I shall see you all next time.